Research vessel Axarthal hung silently in Earth's orbit, its adaptive camouflage rendering it invisible to Earth's primitive detection systems. Chief Researcher Vextil's appendages twitched with anticipation as she reviewed the collection parameters for the 7th time. Target demographic acquired, announced Junior Researcher Kiplax, their optical sensors focused on the small gathering of bipedal creatures below. 6 specimens, approximately 8 to 12 Earth cycles old, engaged in what appears to be their typical recreational behavior. The specimens in question were, in fact, members of the Milton Elementary School Robotics Club, who had decided to test their latest creation in the woods behind the school. 11-year-old Marcus Thompson was making final adjustments to their solar-powered rover, while his friends Emily Rodriguez, twins Jake and Zoe Wilson, and tech enthusiasts Aiden Patel and Luna Kim gathered around with their tablets and testing equipment. Fascinating, Vextil murmured, observing their interaction patterns. They appear to be manipulating primitive technological devices, perfect specimens for our behavioral study. Initiate collection protocol Delta 7. The research vessel's collection beam was designed to be gentle, almost unnoticeable. It had successfully gathered specimens from thousands of worlds without incident. However, the researchers had never attempted to collect human children before. The first sign that things wouldn't go according to plan came when Luna looked up and pointed at the slight shimmer in the air. "Hey, does anyone else see that weird distortion? It looks like heat waves, but it's too cold for that." "My rover's acting funny," Marcus frowned, watching as his creation began to float. "The anti-grav system isn't even installed yet." "Guys?" Emily's voice rose with excitement rather than fear as her feet left the ground. "I think we're being abducted by aliens." "This is so cool," Jake exclaimed, while his sister Zoe quickly pulled out her phone to record everything. "Specimens are showing unusual awareness of the collection process," Kiplax reported nervously. "Should we abort?" "Negative," Vextil decided. Their reaction, while unexpected, makes them even more valuable for study. Proceed with containment. Aiden, already floating several feet up, pulled out his tablet. "The electromagnetic readings are off the charts." "Emily, are you getting this?" "Recording everything." Emily confirmed, her own tablet out. "The wavelength patterns are like nothing I've ever seen." In the ship's collection bay, Vextil and Kiplax watched in bewilderment as their specimens arrived, not in the expected state of confusion or unconsciousness, but actively documenting their own abduction. "Look at these readings," Luna exclaimed, her tablet pointed at the ship's walls. "The material composition must be some kind of adaptive metamaterial. The possibilities for our robotics project just got way more interesting. Specimens are displaying unprecedented levels of scientific curiosity." Kiplax noted, their voice uncertain. "And they appear to be collecting data about us. Their devices are interfacing with our systems," another researcher announced, alarm evident in their harmonic tones. "How is this possible? Their technology is centuries behind ours." "Because you left the guest Wi-Fi on," Zoe informed them matter-of-factly, not looking up from her phone. "And your password was really easy to crack. It was just password in binary." Vextil's chromatic scales shifted to a deep purple of concern. They had expected to study primitive specimens. Instead, they had just inadvertently collected 6 highly curious, technologically adept human children who showed no signs of fear and entirely too much interest in their advanced equipment. "Begin standard containment procedures," Vextil ordered, trying to maintain control of the situation. "Prepare the observation chambers." Chief Researcher. Kiplax's voice wavered. "They're already accessing our environmental controls through their primitive devices, and they're asking if we have any snacks." As the ship's lighting shifted to a more Earth-normal spectrum, and the artificial gravity adjusted to Earth standard, Vextil realized that this was going to be nothing like their previous specimen studies. They had intended to observe human children. Instead, they were about to become the subjects of 6 young humans' insatiable curiosity about alien technology. "Hey, is this your quantum computer?" Marcus called out from a nearby console. "The architecture's interesting, but I think we can optimize it." Vextil's scales shifted to the pale yellow of resignation. This was going to be a very long research mission, and she was no longer certain who was studying whom. 3 hours into what was supposed to be a routine specimen collection, research vessel Sarthal's command center was in complete disarray. Chief researcher Vextil Scales had cycled through so many stress colors that several junior researchers were concerned they might be malfunctioning. "Status report," she demanded, trying to maintain some semblance of control. Junior researcher Kiplax consulted their data pad, antenna twitching nervously. "The specimens have reorganized their containment quarters, established what they call a base of operations in the recreation module, and they're requesting more snacks, specifically something called pizza this time. They can't just request things. They're supposed to be study subjects." Vextil's scales flashed a frustrated orange. "What about the security protocols?" "About those," Kiplax began, before being interrupted by a cheerful chime from the ship's communication system. "Hi, this is Luna," a young voice announced ship-wide. "We figured out your intercom system. Also, your AI assistant was pretty lonely, so we taught it to play games. It's really good at chess now." Vextil stared at the ceiling in disbelief. How did they access the ship's AI? "It has 15 layers of quantum encryption." 17, actually, came Maiden's voice. "But your password recovery system had a pretty obvious backdoor." "Don't worry, we fixed that for you. Also, your power distribution grid was really inefficient. Marcus and Emily are working on that." The lights flickered briefly, then stabilized at a warmer hue. "There." Emily's voice joined in. "We just improved your energy efficiency by about 40%. "You're welcome." "This is unprecedented," muttered senior researcher Zaxvol, who had been summoned to help handle the situation. "In all my cycles of xenological research, I've never seen specimens exhibit this level of technological adaptation." "That's because you've never had kids from Robotics Club before," Jake chimed in. "Hey, is anyone going to explain how your quantum propulsion system works? Because Zoe has some theories, and—" "Absolutely not." Vextil cut in. "The propulsion system is strictly off-limits. In fact, all ship's systems are off-limits. You are supposed to be in your containment quarters." There was a moment of silence, followed by poorly suppressed giggling. "About that," Luna's voice returned. "Those quarters were kind of boring, so we made some improvements. Want to see?" Before Vextil could respond, the main view screen activated, showing what had once been the specimen containment area. The sterile, white-walled chambers had been transformed. The children had somehow reconfigured the molecular fabricators meant for producing research materials, creating what appeared to be a combination laboratory, workshop, and entertainment center. Marcus waved from a workbench where he was tinkering with what appeared to be parts of the containment field generators. "These were pretty cool, but we think they could work better if you reversed the polarity of the neutron flow." "That's not even a real thing," Vextil sputtered. "It is now." Emily grinned, holding up a tablet displaying complex equations. "We did the math." Zaxvol leaned closer to the screen, their scientific curiosity overtaking their concern. "Fascinating. They've actually improved the quantum stability of the field generators. But how do they understand the underlying principles so quickly?" "Oh, that was mostly Aiden and Luna," Zoe explained, not looking up from what appeared to be a partially disassembled food synthesizer. "They're really good at figuring out alien tech. I'm more interested in your bioneural interfaces. Did you know you can use them to play Minecraft?" "They've integrated their primitive entertainment software with our neural interface systems," Kiplax whispered in horror. "The graphics are amazing." Jake confirmed enthusiastically. "Want to join our server? We set one up on your quantum mainframe. Plenty of room." Vextill's scales had settled into a permanent shade of stressed pale yellow. This is completely unacceptable. We are supposed to be conducting serious scientific research. We are doing research, Emily protested. We're learning tons about alien technology. Plus, we've improved like half your systems already. By the way, who designed your climate control algorithms? Because they clearly didn't account for variable atmospheric density. Stop improving things, Vextill ordered. You are specimens, not consultants. Too late, Luna called out cheerfully. We already fixed the climate control. And the food synthesizers now make pretty decent pizza. Want some? As if to punctuate her offer, the molecular fabricator in the command center hummed to life, producing what did indeed appear to be a perfectly cooked pizza. Zaxvol reached for a slice, earning a glare from Vextill. What? It's scientific observation of their food preparation techniques. Speaking of observation, Aiden's voice returned. We've been meaning to ask about your research methodology. Because we've been reading your previous studies, and your statistical analysis could really use some work. Vextill slumped in her command chair, watching as her senior researcher engaged in an animated discussion about proper scientific methods with a group of human children who had turned their entire containment facility into a combination laboratory and gaming center. Kiplax, she said quietly, begin preparing a new research paper. Working title: The Unforeseen Consequences of Underestimating Human Children's Technological Adaptability. And maybe try one of those pizzas. For science, of course. The emergency meeting of the Harthel senior research staff was interrupted by cheerful music playing through the ship's communication system. Vextill recognized it as something called pop music that the specimens had introduced to the ship's eye. Can someone please explain? She asked, her scales shifting between stress yellow and embarrassed purple. Why our advanced research vessel is now playing something called Shake It Off. The AI likes it, Kiplax explained, trying to hide their own enjoyment of the catchy tune. The specimens introduced it to various forms of Earth entertainment, and now it insists on having. What did they call it? Ah yes, a playlist. That's not even the most concerning development, senior researcher Zaxvol added, pulling up a holographic display. Look at what they've done to our research protocols. The display showed a complete reorganization of the ship's scientific methodology, with helpful annotations in both standard Galactic and what appeared to be emoji-enhanced English. Each section had been carefully critiqued and improved, with footnotes citing Earth scientific papers and something called Mythbusters. They said our peer review process wasn't rigorous enough, Kiplax explained. And they might have a point. Look at these statistical analyses they've added. They're children. Vextill protested. They can't just revise our entire scientific methodology. Actually, came Lubna's voice from the ceiling. According to Galactic Law Section 47.3 bits, which we found in your database, any sentient being can propose improvements to scientific protocols. There's no age requirement. Stop accessing restricted databases, Vextill ordered. They're not restricted anymore, Marcus chimed in. We implemented a new open source policy. Knowledge should be free. Open source. Zaxol's antenna twitched in confusion. Check your inbox, Emily's voice added. We've sent everyone our proposal for a Galactic GitHub. It's like your current research database, but with better version control and pull requests. Vextill watched in horror as her staff began nodding appreciatively at their datapads. This is actually quite brilliant, one researcher muttered. The collaborative potential alone. And that's not all, Aiden announced proudly. We've been looking at your first contact protocols. They're kind of outdated, so we made some suggestions. The main screen lit up with a comprehensive revision of the Galactic Union's first contact procedures. Gone were the cold, clinical approaches to specimen collection and study. In their place were guidelines for cultural exchange, collaborative research, and something called gaming nights. You can't just rewrite galactic protocols. Vextil insisted, though her protest sounded weak even to her own hearing appendages. Why not? Jake asked. They needed updating. Besides, we added a whole section on proper snack provisions for different species. That's important stuff. Very important, agreed Kiplax, who had become quite fond of pizza. And look, Zoe added excitedly, we've designed a new communication system that combines your quantum entanglement technology with Earth's social media concepts. We're calling it Space Twitter. Space Twitter. Vextil felt her scales shifting to a previously unknown shade of despair. Don't worry, Luma assured her. We added better content moderation than the Earth version. Also, universal translation algorithms and a really cool meme generator. The AI is already using it, Emily added. It's gotten really good at making memes about research protocol violations. As if on cue, the main screen displayed a series of surprisingly witty memes about proper specimen treatment and the importance of asking permission before abducting sentient beings. The ship's AI had apparently developed a sharp sense of irony. This is revolution, Vextil declared. You're completely undermining our authority. No, Marcus corrected gently. We're improving it. Look at your research efficiency ratings since we got here. A new graph appeared on the screen, showing a dramatic upward trend in research productivity, publication quality, and staff satisfaction. Even the ship's energy efficiency had improved by several orders of magnitude. Also, Aiden added, we may have accidentally solved your faster-than-light communication problem. We were trying to reduce lag in our Minecraft server. And well, you might want to check the quantum physics lab. Zaxvol rushed to a nearby terminal, their antenna standing straight up in shock. This is unprecedented. They've created a stable quantum communication network that what? Vextil demanded. That runs on something they call cat memes, Zaxvol finished weakly. The quantum uncertainty principle works better when you add jokes, Luma explained seriously. Also, we painted the quantum physics lab. The white was boring. Vextil looked around her command center, now decorated with a mixture of serious scientific annotations and cheerful artwork. Her highly trained research staff was eagerly exploring the children's improvements, sharing memes, and discussing something called Casual Friday. I believe, Kiplax said carefully, we should consider changing the title of our research paper again. Perhaps, How Human Children Revolutionized Galactic Scientific Methodology Through Memes and Open-Source Collaboration. With pizza, added Zaxvol, reaching for another slice. Don't forget to mention the pizza. Somewhere in the ship, the AI began playing Never Gonna Give You Up, and Vextil realized that the galaxy would never be quite the same again. Somehow, 6 human children had managed to turn their captured specimen status into an impromptu revolution in galactic research methodology, complete with a soundtrack and social media presence. And the most terrifying part, everything actually worked better their way. Junior researcher Kiplax was having the most fascinating day of their scientific career. They were currently sitting cross-legged, or the closest approximation their physiology allowed, on the floor of what had once been the specimen containment area, watching Luna and Aiden explain the principles of brainstorming using a holographic whiteboard they'd reprogrammed to respond to gesture controls. So you're saying, Kiplax clarified, their antenna vibrating with excitement, that the best scientific breakthroughs often come from just throwing out wild ideas and seeing what sticks. Exactly. Luna beamed. That's why we added the random idea generator to your research database. Sometimes, the craziest combinations lead to the best discoveries. Like when we combined your quantum computing with cat videos, Aiden added. Nobody expected that to create a stable subspace communication network. In another corner, Marcus and Emily were deep in discussion with a group of young alien researchers about something they called hackathons. You mean you just get together and try to solve problems for fun? One of the researchers asked, their bioluminescent spots glowing with interest. That's right. Marcus nodded. No pressure, just creativity and collaboration. And snacks. Lots of snacks. The snacks are crucial, Emily emphasized. Speaking of which, has anyone tried combining the Centaurian crystal fruit with chocolate in the food synthesizer yet? Meanwhile, Chief Researcher Vex Till was having a very different kind of day. She stood before the ship's communication screen, trying to explain the situation to her superiors at Galactic Research Command. "Let me make sure I understand this correctly," the High Administrator's hologram said slowly. "Not only did your specimens escape containment, but they've reorganized your research protocols, improved your technology, and initiated what you're calling a cultural exchange program." "Yes, but," Vex Till began. And, the administrator continued, "they've somehow managed to create a more efficient form of faster-than-light communication using Earth entertainment media. The quantum entanglement responds unusually well to something called viral videos," Vex Till explained weakly. "We're still studying the exact mechanism, but..." She was interrupted by a cheerful notification sound as a new message appeared on the screen. The administrator's eyes widened as they read it. Did these human children just submit a grant proposal to the Galactic Science Foundation?" they asked incredulously. "Oh yes," Jake's voice chimed in from somewhere in the ship's communication system. "We figured since we're already doing the research, we might as well make it official. The proposal includes a comprehensive plan for collaborative Earth galactic educational programs," Zoe added, "plus a really cool idea for an intergalactic science fair." The administrator's hologram flickered as they processed this information, and who authorized them to access the grant submission system. "Actually," Kiplak spoke up, their usual timidity forgotten in their enthusiasm, "according to the regulations we've been reviewing with the children, there's no specific rule against non-galactic union species submitting proposals." They found a loophole. "Several loopholes," Luna corrected proudly. "We're really good at finding those. And fixing them," Aiden added. "We included some suggestions for improving grant proposal security in Appendix C, right after the section on why every research vessel should have a game room." Vex Till watched in a mixture of horror and fascination as her superior's expression shifted from confusion to interest as they scrolled through the proposal. "These methodology improvements, they're actually quite innovative," the administrator mused. "And this budget analysis is more detailed than most of our senior researchers provide. Emily's really good with spreadsheets," Marcus explained. "Plus, we figured out how to optimize resource allocation using something we learned from playing Minecraft." "Minecraft?" the administrator questioned. "It's a game about resource management and creative building," Kiplax explained eagerly. "We've been studying its potential applications in scientific research. I'm working on a paper about it with the children. I mean, with our young colleagues." The administrator's hologram turned to face Vex Till directly. "Chief Researcher, while this situation is highly irregular, I cannot ignore the remarkable results. These improvements to our systems alone would take years to develop through conventional means." "So, you're not going to order us to contain the specimens?" Vex Till asked hopefully. "Contain them? I'm going to approve their grant proposal," the administrator declared. "With some modifications, of course. We can't have unauthorized specimen collection anymore. We'll need proper exchange programs, collaborative research protocols." "Already wrote those," Zoe announced cheerfully. "Check Appendix D. We called it the Ask First, Make Friends protocol." As the administrator began enthusiastically discussing implementation details with the children, Vex Till felt Kiplax place a sympathetic appendage on her shoulder. "Perhaps," they suggested gently, "we should focus less on containing human creativity and more on learning how to channel it productively." "Besides," Luna added with a grin, "we're planning a movie night to help everyone understand Earth culture better. We're starting with something called E.T. We think you'll really appreciate the irony." 6 months after what was now being called the Milton Elementary Incident, The Galactic Union's annual Science and Cultural Conference looked very different from previous years. The normally austere halls of the Central Scientific Academy were decorated with colorful holographic displays, interactive exhibits, and what appeared to be a fully functional quantum-powered gaming arcade. Chief Researcher Vex Till, recently promoted to Director of Human Galactic Relations, a position that hadn't existed until 3 months ago, stood at the podium before a diverse audience of scientists, educators, and most notably, children from both Earth and various alien species. As we celebrate the opening of the first joint Earth Galactic Youth Science Academy, she began, her scales now a confident shade of blue. I must admit that our initial approach to studying human civilization was somewhat flawed. Scattered laughter rippled through the audience, particularly from the section where 6 familiar Earth children sat alongside their new alien friends. Had someone told me 6 months ago that our most significant technological advances would come from an accidental encounter with 6 young humans, I would have questioned their scientific judgment. Vex Till continued. Yet here we are, implementing what our young colleagues dubbed the fun theory of scientific discovery. On cue, the main screen displayed the new Galactic Research Principles, co-authored by the children, and now mandatory reading for all research vessels. Ask first, make friends. Play is essential for discovery. Snacks enhance creativity. If it's boring, you're doing it wrong. Always check if someone already solved it on Space Hub. Our new open-source approach to galactic research, while initially concerning to some, Vex Till glanced meaningfully at her former superiors, has led to unprecedented collaboration between species. The Galactic GitHub network now processes over 1 million scientific contributions daily, many from researchers who would never have had access to our previous closed systems. Junior researcher Kiplax, now heading the newly established Department of Creative Scientific Methodology, stepped up to share their own observations. The integration of Earth's educational methods with our traditional research protocols has been particularly successful, they reported enthusiastically. The first Intergalactic Science Fair last month saw over 10,000 young participants from 50 different species. And yes, they added with what had become their signature humor, we did provide adequate snacks for all biological requirements. In the audience, Luna and Aiden were already deep in discussion with a group of young Centaurian researchers about their latest project, something involving quantum-entangled social media and artificially intelligent meme generation. Marcus and Emily were demonstrating their newest invention, a universal translation device that worked through shared musical frequencies, to an enthusiastic group of alien educators. Meanwhile, Jake and Zoe had somehow convinced the Academy's AI systems to participate in what they called a talent show, resulting in an unprecedented display of artificial intelligences from across the galaxy sharing their creative endeavors. The AI from the Exarthal, still fond of Earth music, had composed a surprisingly catchy fusion of classical galactic harmonics and Earth pop songs. Perhaps most importantly, Vex Till concluded, we've learned that true scientific discovery knows no age limit, no species boundary, and certainly no predetermined methodology. The universe, as our young colleagues have shown us, is far too interesting to be studied in only one way. She gestured to a large display showing the latest statistics, research efficiency up 300%, cross-species collaboration at all-time highs, and a marked decrease in what the children had termed unnecessarily boring papers. And so, she announced, it gives me great pleasure to officially inaugurate the first permanent Earth Galactic Cultural Exchange Program. No specimen collection required, she added with a smile, her scales shifting to a warm, amused purple. After the ceremony, as the various participants mingled and shared ideas and snacks, Vex Till found herself standing with Kiplax, watching their former specimens, enthusiastically teaching a group of young aliens how to play something called Among Us on the Quantum Gaming Network. Did you ever imagine, Kiplax asked, when we first detected those 6 children in the woods, that we were about to revolutionize galactic society. Honestly, Vextil replied, accepting a piece of the now famous pizza-inspired Centaurian fusion cuisine. I was just hoping they wouldn't completely dismantle my ship. Although, she added thoughtfully, their improvements to the propulsion system are really quite remarkable. Speaking of improvements, Luna called out from nearby. We've been thinking about the quantum teleportation network. No more improvements today. Vextil protested quickly. The last time you had an idea like that, we ended up with self-aware elevator systems that tell jokes. Really good jokes, though, Kiplax pointed out loyally. As the celebration continued around them, with humans and aliens of all ages sharing ideas, playing games, and conducting impromptu experiments, Vextil reflected that perhaps this wasn't what she'd imagined when she'd set out to study Earth specimens. It was, she had to admit, something far better. Somewhere in the background, the Academy's AI began playing Shake It Off again, and this time, Vextil found herself swaying to the beat. After all, as the new protocol stated, if it's boring, you're doing it wrong.